Hello, it's me, your boy Pat, here with Obscure Reference. Today, we're doing something a little different. There's no One Piece chapter today, so we weren't going to stream any One Piece content. But, I remember reading, the past couple of weeks, and the chapters of My Hero Academia and JJK have been, uh, for lack of a better word, been hitting lately. So, I decided that in lieu of reading the new One Piece chapter today, I would go ahead and read the new chapters for My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen. That is 402 for My Hero Academia and 237 for JJK, respectively. Um, excuse me. So this is just gonna be me reading, giving my thoughts post chapter, and that'll be it. This will be a brief little. I don't think this will go too long, but I'm just gonna record, go for it, see what happens, capture some magic, capture some lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? But I got my coffee here. Can't see it. There it is. I got my coffee here, so I'm gonna try and bring the energy today. But I also did wake up like an hour ago, so here we go. Mm, that's spicy. Okay. All right. So all right, we're gonna start with My Hero Academia just because I'm a little bit more interested to see what happens in JK, and so I'm gonna save that for last. So we're gonna start here with My Hero 402. If you don't remember the events of last chapter, let me remind you. Um, Stain and All Might are going in against All for One, and All for One may or may not have decimated Stain. Um, and it looks like All Might also be in trouble. So we're gonna. That's where we left off things. Let me double check to be sure that I'm correct there. Get to the last page. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Um, He's within range. All for One's within range to use his loop orb, but All Might's still standing, and he's gonna do his darndest to stop All for One. So, with that being said, let's jump into chapter 402 of My Hero Academia. So right off the bat, we see some people screaming, "Dabi has been neutralized. We can now confirm the refugee's safety." So if you recall, there's been a lot going on in this arc. Dabi was about to overheat and decimate like all the blocks within a certain radius, but all of um, the oh my god, the fucking Shoto Endeavor, their whole family came together to stop him. I'm blanking on their name right now. That is so unlike me. Tabi has been neutralized. We can now confirm the refugee's safety. Shoto's mission was a success. Oh my god, need more coffee. Shoto's mission was a success. Get a black panel that says, and then Toga has stopped doubling. The clones are disappearing. As you'll recall, Ochiko stopped that just a few chapters ago. And then looks like the place is still falling. Or yeah, because remember, Gentle was holding that up, but he's been having a little bit of trouble, and they were trying to make repairs inside of the blocks. But things are starting to fall apart. That might be Shigaraki's doing, but you see some of the doubles disappearing. And here's Momo. She's saying the Twices are vanishing. This is chapter 402, The Tearful Days. Here's the title. I forgot to mention that. Um, the excess weight is gone. The school can remain airborne. Okay, so with all the clones gone, all right, that makes sense. And that's Hatsune Mei, best girl. Anyway, at that moment, All for One is nearing Tomura Shigaraki. He's within range to use his gloop orb. Meanwhile, and then we cut to Deku and Shigaraki, and then we see All Might's police friend. Since descending from UA, Midoriya has managed to dodge Shigaraki's point-blank attacks, thereby maintaining the stalemate. Uh, you see him, clenching his fists on the desk, the gloop orb. And we just see that over, different moments where the gloop orb was being used. Here's All for One. The moment I injected myself with the rewind shot, this exact spot became my destination. By granting Tomura the duplicate copy of my quirk, he will become a version of me that surpasses even myself. I got All Might on the ground thinking to himself, not yet. Need to stay glued to him. That all you got, All for One? And All for One's like, he's holding his hand up and you see some gloop coming out. It's like, here's how I'll smoothly perform the transfer without the risk of any meddling by Midoriya and One for All. Come now, Tomura Shigaraki, my other self. And you see Shigaraki, you see goop starting to come out of his mouth. He's probably about to start warping. And you see a brief panel of All For One holding his hand up with the test as his master. The next panel is Shigaraki closing his mouth, looking at in the camera effectively and saying, "Don't butt in." And All For One is saying to himself, "Alas, my other consciousness must have been swallowed up. Well, no matter. I'll have to do the legwork myself." And he's just smiling. Then you got All For One or All Might on the ground, and we see a text speech. "Hey, look." And interesting little phone panel thing with the phone just being held up to show what they're seeing. You see something zooming in from the distance, and it's All For One carrying All Might by his leg. And he's like, "Yes, keep that pathetic look on your face. Take responsibility for the dreams you fill the youngsters' silly little heads with. Better go save All Might, Izuku Midoriya. This is perfect, actually. Go on, I don't mind." This is Shigaraki saying this, by the way. "In the meantime, I'll head back to those jerks who hurt me over and over and break every last one of them." And yeah, we just see her zooming in on All Might being held up by All For One, and getting some flashbacks. "I'll use this very hand to shape my own fate." That's All Might saying that. He's holding his hand up like that, and you see Deku holding his hand out like that. He's like, "I'll be there changing fate by your side." So you see him clashing with Shigaraki, and he's thinking to himself, "I thought I'd put my tearful days behind me, but now I'm fighting to hold back my tears once again." And All Might's flashback to when they were training on the beach, and he's like, "But you gotta quit being a crybaby. To be the best apprentice I can be, the one for all vestige signaled its departure within Izuku Midoriya slightly in advance." And then the next page is just all Deku screaming, "All Might." I'm not going to scream because I don't want to get a noise complaint. "Can someone without a quirk become a hero like you?" Again, flashback to chapter 1. And you can. Because you're someone who gives his all every time. Someone who could never let his dream die. I also can't abandon my dream. My dream. Ooh, you see him grab All For One by the neck, just hanging on like this, saying, "To be the symbol of peace." And then we see Shimura and Nana uh, saying, "Take care of him for me, Sorahiko. Help him see his dreams fulfilled." And she pushes. Oh, did she like show up and push All Might away? Is she here right now? What? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna keep reading. I'm sorry. The way this is laid out, I'm a little lost. Help him see his dream fulfilled. Okay, so we're cutting back to the past with interesting. Uh, so that's her pushing him away. This is Nana's final moments, and All For One saying, "Why am I suddenly recalling Nana Shimura's final moments? Why now? That fool of a woman put her stupid ideals first, without the power to back them up. And then she died such a pathetic death." And we see her being choked up by All For One. She's saying, "All For One, you will fall to All Might without a doubt, because this madman, he's willing to. That Toshinori is even more unhinged than you are." Oh my god, what a panel. He's just, All Might's just smiling and holding up All For One like that. He says, "After this death, maybe you'll turn into a little kindergartner again." And then we just see a bright flash, and that's the end of My Hero Academia chapter 402. Not gonna lie, that was actually pretty good. I have no idea what to expect from this series going forward right now. Like, I have a pretty good idea of where things are heading. Like, obviously, we know All Might's supposed to die, and maybe this is the one time Sir Night Eye's predictions are wrong. And I keep thinking that, and the fact that I keep thinking that is impressive from a writing perspective. Like, I don't know. It feels like that was set in stone, and that we've been building up to it for some might say too long, but um, I don't know. We keep getting glimmers of hope. Things are getting worse and worse by the second. We do need a victory like that. because we even stated like throughout the rest of this chapter, like the beginning first couple of pages of this chapter, that the other major threats have been dealt with. Like Spinner's down, twice, or I guess Toga's down, and Dabi's down. So there's really not a whole lot else to worry about. I guess maybe there's a couple other threats I'm forgetting, but the fact that we spent most of this chapter focusing on Shigaraki and All for One tells me that yes, we're gearing up for the final showdown. Things are heating up. We're getting ready to wrap this up. And I really don't know how we're gonna do that. It still feels like we're a ways off from this fight being over. Having said that, uh, but it does feel like this is like we're good. This is the final showdown. Get ready, get hyped. So All Might's about to do something. Who knows what that means for this for how things play out here. And I truly don't know. So I'm pretty excited to keep reading. I might do another private recording reaction to this for next week because this keeps getting good. Excuse me, jeez Louise, this keeps getting good. We have a no new chapter next week, so actually we got a break for My Hero, which is fine. Horikoshi's been delivering week after week, so I can't even blame them for that. That being said, though, let's talk about JJK because last week was a little controversial. I should have done a live reaction to that because that took me out for a loop. Let me take a sip of coffee before I jump into what happened last week. Because good lord. Excuse me. All right. So spoilers for JJK. If you're not at all caught up, I'll give you like 3 seconds. Satoru Gojo is dead. All right. So here's what happened. If you don't recall, he died. We thought he beat up Maharaga, but through some trickery, Sukuna was able to slice him in half, like directly in half. And we got a flashback or not a flashback, but a cut of him talking to some of his other people that have died throughout the series. Like Nanamine and those folks. Um, and then we get a little bit of that. It was more of a send up for Gojo, and he said he felt sorry for Sukuna, which felt weird. He didn't think of it. It doesn't matter. Regardless of how I feel about it, I can get to that at the end after reading this chapter. But he's dead, and now Kashimo is stepping in to fight Sukuna because, of course, he is. Um, and right off the bat, yeah, here he is flying in. So, chapter 237, Inhuman Makyo Shinjuku Showdown, part 14. So, we're keeping that chapter title. We're still in that arc, for lack of a better name for it. Because that was the name they used for the Gojo and Sukuna fight, which means we're just gonna keep this coming until we take Sukuna out. I think, if we take him out, honestly. Um, okay, so yeah, he's flying in here. He's holding. It looks like he's holding the pipe or something. But you see him looking up, and he's thinking to himself, "Here they come." Far above Kashimo, who had jumped from 203 meters above ground, appeared a giant block of ice and the frozen star known as Uraume. So she is still. I don't like her. um, but then she's looking up. Someone's above me. And here's Akari. He's saying, "Sorry, but I made a promise, so I gotta stop you." That's news to me, Ice Formation. And she's using her thing. And Hikari's using domain expansion. Here we go. That's really cool. Hikari's domain captured Uraume, but the block of ice continued to fall. You see Sukuna hold up his hand and just destroys the ice, and it's just him and Kashimo as a bunch of like ice fragments kind of fall and hit the ground. And you see Kashimo stop and think to himself, the ice was merely a means of delivery. In exchange for, or that wasn't Kashimo thinking that was just the narrator. In exchange for a desperate binding vow, Yorozu had constructed the item that appeared from within the melting block of ice. So that was the person who took over Megumin's sister, if I remember correctly. Cursed Tool's supreme martial solution. Its effect was strangely, and let's see. Looks like he's using it, and then we just see a big like burst of, or I guess a bunch of energy flow into the ground like that, and Sukuna saying just like old times. And you see the dust starting to clear, and Sukuna's holding up the weapon. Um, Supreme Martial Solution. Interesting. And Kashimo's just kind of sitting there. Sukuna's even like, oh. And we see more narration. The characteristics of Kashimo's cursed energy provide resistance to electricity. And he's saying, Sukuna, did you become the strongest sorcerer, or were you born that way? Sukuna's like, beats me, but I bet I was a creepy kid. Kashimo's like, if you've never known weakness, how can you interact with others, or ever show kindness? I couldn't do it. Others were brittle clods of earth to me. So tell me, must strength be lonely? Are the strong cursed to wander in search of limitless power? And Sukuna is just kind of greedy bastard. Satoru Gojo is like that too. And Kashimo's like, huh? I'll tell you, so bring it on, departed spirit. And Kashimo just big smile across his face. He rushes in. He's swinging downward at Sukuna. He's blocking it. Oh, and Kashimo's using his technique release, Mythical Beast Amber. And goes in to punch him and gets a solid hit on Sukuna, and he flies back. And you see Kashimo just like back like this. You see his fists are glowing. He's inhaling deeply, and oh my god! And he opens his mouth, and it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it, but he's just, for lack of a better term, it looks like he's screaming at Sukuna, but it releases a shockwave that pushes him back a little bit, and Sukuna's like, well, that was loud. And we just see Akashimo being like coated in something. Mythical Beast Amber reconstructs flesh in order to manifest phenomena that Kashimo converts from cursed energy. Okay. So you see him put his hand up to Sukuna. He's about to hit him, but Sukuna dodges. And they both turn to face each other. He punches Sukuna again. He goes flying. Improved agility due to increased activity of electric signals in the brain. Sound waves that optimize and attune to the natural frequencies of substances. Electromagnetic waves that vaporize irradiated objects. Kashimo's body manifests these phenomena and has passed beyond the human realm. That's fucking cool. But after completion of this cursed technique, Kashimo's flesh collapses. Jesus. You just see like a brief spark just between Kashimo and Sukuna, who's getting up from being hit. And just a big rush of like, I can only assume of lightning or sound or force just hitting Sukuna from above. So, in the narration is coming back in. Sukuna has a way to repair flesh only once, besides reverse curse technique. He can do so by resuming transformation as a curse taking fleshly form, which he had purposely interrupted before. Holy shit. So he's fully back. Like, I mean, he was back, but like, he's transformed into his original form. Like, that is the final page here with the narration. You see him holding up the curse tool, and he's got four arms, and it's part of his face a little fucked up like it was. That's cool. That's bad, but it's cool. But he can only do it once. So does that mean like Shiguro is just done? Is he done out? Are we done with that? Like I've been holding on to a little bit of copium, if I'm being honest. But that's interesting. Does that mean Gojo never stood a chance? Man, yeah. I mean, this tells me that Bushigero's done. That's kind of wild. Does that mean okay? So that's like Gojo and Megumi in two chapters right after each other. That's kind of fucking brutal. That's wild, man. Like at least with Gojo, it's like I don't know. Gojo might could have been handled a little bit better. If this is how Fushiguro actually goes out, I might be a little disappointed by that. I'm curious to see if they bring him back at all in any fashion. Maybe as like someone holding them back from the inside, you know that trope. But that's crazy, man. Oh man, I'll be very curious to see how they handle Sukuna and how we actually take him out. Because I have a feeling Kashima's not going to be enough to take him out. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if Gojo couldn't, I don't think Kashima could. But if we get, because here's the thing, Kashima wants to fight him one on one, and that's fine. I don't think he's going to win one on one. I think if Yudo was out there, maybe it'd be a little easier for Kashima to take him out. Maybe Maki, but maybe we hold on to Maki until we have to fight Kenjaku. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think who else we got. I mean, Hikari's fighting Uraume. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. That shouldn't be an issue for Hikari. I don't know how strong Uraume is really, but if she wasn't a chance for Sato or Gojo, I don't think she's a chance. She stands a chance against Hikari. That's just me off the top of the dome. I really couldn't tell you for sure, but yeah, we don't have a lot of special grade sorcerers left. Yuta's one of them. Kashimo is definitely one of them. Hikari is as well. But I don't think Yuta's going out there to interrupt Kashimo's fight. I don't think Kashimo would allow that. So we'll see. I like this chapter a little bit more than Gojo, than the last chapter with Gojo's death. I think that was a okay send off for a character a lot of people love. I think it could have been handled a little bit more tastefully, a little bit better. Um, Maybe get a callback, throw in a callback to, I don't know if he said this or not, but throwback to Shibuya, where he's getting sealed in the prison room, saying, "I leave the rest to you guys." Maybe he could have done something like that instead of saying, "I feel sorry for you, Sukune." Like, I handled that a little bit better. I think that I would have liked that a little bit more, because I'm fine with Gojo dying. Truly, I just think it wasn't handled as well as it could have been. But we'll see how this goes with Megumin. I'm not sold on it yet. But we'll see. There are times where it's like I didn't fully appreciate where uh how do you say the author's name? It's like Gege, but I don't know if that's Gigi or Gage. I don't know. Regardless, I'm not sure where the author is going, but there have been times where I questioned that, and then it turned out to be something really cool. So I'm just gonna hold my thoughts back fully until we get payoff for some of this stuff. But I'm very curious to see how this fight plays out because I think Kashima's super strong, but I also don't think he has a chance against Sukuna, especially now that he's fully transformed. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for here. This has been Obscure Reference. Instead of Opum, this is Manga Sunday, I guess. Shonen Jump Sunday. We'll work on the title because I doubt this will be the last time that something like this happens. But if you like what we have to offer here, if you enjoy watching our content, leave a like, leave a subscribe. Follow us on socials on Twitter and Instagram, I guess X or whatever, but it's at Obscure Reference 23. I mean, links will be in the description below. Leave a comment. What do you think about some of the recent chapters of My Hero and JJK? Is there another series you think I should be checking out reading weekly? There are a few that I am reading weekly that I don't necessarily get the hype out of me like these two do. But if you think there is one that's worth mentioning, bring it up in the comments. But other than that, we'll be back. We usually do One Piece readings and reactions and reviews every Sunday when a chapter drops. And on break weeks like these, we'll sometimes we'll stream stuff. We stream Mondays and Thursdays. Check us out there. Follow us on socials. Check out our other content if you like what I do here. Yeah, give us a like, a subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But yeah, do we have a new chapter this next week? I'm gonna check that. But honestly, yeah, new chapter in 7 days. Freaking sweet, Lois. But this has been Obscure Reference. Thanks for jumping in to a special edition of One Piece of Our Minds, aka Manga Sunday, and I will see y'all later.